My name is Chin Tah Ang, and I'm from Singapore. I've been living here in Brazil for 2 years. I work for EDB Singapore. The reason why I came here 2 years ago was to actually set up the office for EDB Singapore. So it was certainly quite challenging when I first got here. In the end, I think even up to today, I'm still having some issues with the language. It's not an easy one because I have no background in Romantic or Latin languages. And if there's one place that's more open than Brazil in terms of welcoming people from all across the world, I don't think it exists. And I think we often say that there are many places in the world that are multicultural. But I think Brazil is truly a melting pot where people come into the country, they interact, and you can see that within the first or second generations of immigration, they are already fairly well integrated into Brazilian society. This is something that I've not seen in the other places that I've been to or lived. And the simple fact is, most people, when they look at Brazil, the image they have in their head is a fairly unrealistic one. And I came here with no image, but even then, when I arrived here 2 years ago in Guarulhos, I was quite taken aback. I did not expect São Paulo to look the way it did. I think it was a lot more developed and cosmopolitan than I had expected. So I think quality of life, great. Variety of cuisine, variety of cultures, lots of arts, not just in São Paulo, but also in Rio, Curitiba, Brasilia, other major cities in the country. But what I'll say is that quality of life is not a problem, it's mainly the pricing. So it's quite expensive to live here sometimes. But what I'll say is everyone comes into Brazil with this image in their mind that for better or for worse actually in this case, that Brazil has a lot of crime and violence. Now, I would say that these kind of things are always bigger in the mind than in reality. And I also say that there's no such thing as a big city that is safe. There are always places that you will tend to avoid. And I think generally for São Paulo, I've never really felt threatened. I think it is often overstated. But at the same time, I won't tell people to let their guard down entirely. So just like any other major city in the world. I would say that doing business here in Brazil, well, I think it can be a bit more challenging than in other countries. Perhaps because there is a little bit more of regulations. Maybe there's a little bit more bureaucracy. This is again not something that's unique to Brazil. It happens in many parts of the world. I think culturally and in terms of business environment, there are many other countries which are similar to Brazil. But the language is something that I think people struggle with. Well, we certainly think so. That's why our office is here in São Paulo. I'm not saying that there are no other important business centers in Brazil and the rest of Latin America. There certainly are other countries which are doing very well, other cities that are just as international. But we thought that for today, São Paulo, which is of course one of the leading lights in the region, is the regional hub. It is the center, the control tower for a lot of companies where they put a lot of their headquarters, whether it's Brazilian companies or multinational companies. These are our clients, so we wanted it to be here, close to them. Where, as we discussed earlier, infrastructure is good, where you can get great manpower, and where there's a more international mindset and more regional mindset. In Singapore, I'm very used to taking the public transport, and I really hope that it will be the same way here when I arrived in São Paulo. I think in São Paulo, the public transport is good where it exists. So the metro line the subway system here is very, very good. I've been on it many times. But the reach is still quite limited. So that's going to improve, I hope. So I'm not used to driving that much, especially in the city. But here in São Paulo, to get around, especially in this region, in Itaim, you have to drive. What I would say to a fellow Singaporean or any Asian or anybody from the rest of the world who's thinking of coming to Brazil, who's coming to me for advice, what I'll say to them is come with an open mind, but you have to come. Come when you're ready, but you have to come. Come for the opportunity and stay for the culture, the food, the people. But I think a lot of people have talked about how Brazil is an emerging economy. It really is happening. And beyond that, it's rich and it's diverse. And I think it would be an experience of anybody's lifetime. So I'll tell them, come.